Assalamu alaikum. In this lecture, we are trying to understand the concept of creating relationship in databases, and for that purpose, we will have to understand the concept of primary key and foreign key. As we already know that a database, for example, sale information system, it will be a collection of related file, and here the file are product, customer, sale order, and sale order detail. How these file will be linked within a database, for that we need to understand the concept of association or relationship in databases. So there are three types of relationship that exist in databases: one-to-one relationship, one-to-many, and many-to-many. And one-to-one relationship, one a instance of an entity will be associated with only one instances of another entity. For example, one person can have only one passport, and one passport can only be issued to one person. And in one to many relationship, one instance of an entity will be associated to more than one entity of another instances of another entity. For example, one customer can place more order, and one order, for example order number 10, will only be from customer number 1 or 2 from a particular customer. And in the case of many-to-many relationship, more than one instances, many instances of one entity will be associated with many instances of another entity, and in the reverse in the same way. Uh, and the numbers in this relationship that we placed near the entity which are represented by rectangle, these number are called cardinalities, and these cardinalities actually identifies the number of instances of one entity associated to the number of instances of another entity. Here the question is that how we can establish this relationship between the entities which are implemented in the form of tables. So for that, the primary key and foreign key concepts are used. Primary key is an identifier in a table which uniquely identify a record within that table. For example, customer number 1, when we call customer number 1, we will get only one record from this table, and we cannot have a null or duplicate value for this primary key identifier or attribute. But when we use this identifier of one table as an attribute in another table, then in the second table it is called foreign key. So customer ID is not the attribute of this order table, but it is the identifier of the customer table. So this customer ID connect this customer ID connects order table with the customer table, and this association is called relationship. And the constraint which establish this relationship is called referential integrity constraint. As we have already taken one example of the sale information system, in which we have considered customer, product, sale order, and order detail are the entities for which we need to create the table, and we have already created this table in the last lecture, which is available online. So before creating the table, you must have identified all the primary key and foreign key correctly so that to link them together. Now to implement this kind of relationship in any database management system, DBMS, we take the example of MS Access, and in MS Access you would have already created this database. We have created in our last lecture. Video is available online. So you go to the database tool, then to the relationship window, and then all the tables will be shown to you, and you have to add all these tables and create the relationship. And the relationship that we create will look like this, and this diagram is called ERD, entity relationship diagram. These are the entities and the relationship between these entities is established, and all the relationship over here is one to many, and one to many. The infinity shows many. So this is the ERD diagram for the sale information system. Now I'm going to open a DBMS, and here for simplicity purpose I am taking the Microsoft Access DBMS, and in this DBMS we have already created the sale information system database with all the 4 tables have been created. Now I'm going to create and establish the relationship. So I'm going to the database tool, then the relationship window, and here the relationship window appears, which is empty. So I'm going to right click and show all the tables. So the table window, show table window will open, and I have to add all these tables. So mistakenly I added customer twice, so I will remove it once I add all the other table. So I'm going to delete this one. Now I'm going to create the relationship between these tables, so I can move these tables from one place to another place easily. So this is the customer, and this customer place sale order. So this customer is the foreign key. Over here I will drag it and will place on the customer ID on the primary key. Now these primary key and foreign key are linked, and here I have to check this enforce referential integrity constraint to link these tables together. And here in this table we can see that order ID is the primary key over here, and order ID is the foreign key in the order detail table. So I will drag it and place release it on the primary key, and will select the referential integrity constraint, and then in the same way here is the product ID is the foreign key, where in the product table it is the primary key, and I'm creating this relationship. Now the relationship have been established. So in the upcoming lectures we will try to create the form, which is the front end of the cell information system, and from that front end we will enter data to these tables of the database. So see you in next lecture, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.